Court TV's Julia Janae is joining us now. Julia, good afternoon. Appreciate you being here with us. Let's talk about that question the jury had late this afternoon. Any idea of what we think that could be, and if that is an indicator if we're closer to a verdict?
Well, it's certainly strange that we didn't get to know what that question was, because we know from the prior trial that had all of the similar facts with Jennifer Crumbley, we were able to hear the questions that the jury had, at least some of them. So it's hard to know what this jury may be asking about, or whether or not it was a logistical question. Sometimes that's something that the court doesn't want to share. If they had an emergency and needed to stop the countdown clock for a little while, that can happen. So it's unclear what that question was, but anytime you have all of these people in a room, 12 of them, 6 men, 6 women, a mix of people who are gun owners, parents, one we understand is expecting, you're going to have a jury with different opinions, and it takes time to get through the evidence and perhaps come to a consensus on this. So I think the best indicator we have is that they want to go past 5 o'clock, which means they may feel that they are really making headway and may be close to a verdict rather than stopping things and coming back tomorrow.
Right. So Julia, take us inside that jury room, if you will. We saw a lot of evidence. We heard a lot of testimony. We can think about some of the key things that the jury was weighing in on, including seeing the video of closing arguments where the position was, he didn't know his son was ailing. What do we think that they're focusing on?
If I had to guess, because every jury is different, and we know that process is one of the most sacred ones in our country, because we don't make jurors ever tell us how they came to their conclusion. But if I had to guess, they're focusing on the law. Both of these sides, state and defense, told them in closing arguments to look at the law, and that would get them to guilty or not guilty, depending on who was speaking. There are undisputed facts in this case when it comes to what these parents knew and didn't know. But they may be thinking about this involuntary manslaughter and the 2 theories that they can use to get there, whether or not James Crumbley was grossly negligent in how he failed to secure his firearm, or if he was negligent in his legal duty as a parent to protect other people from being harmed by his child. That can be confusing. We saw that question from the jury back in Jennifer Crumbley's trial. They also, in that trial, wanted to know if they could infer anything from people not testifying, namely the shooter in this case. He didn't testify in either trial. So that may be part of what this jury, different group of people, but they could be wondering about that law and trying to compare it and figure out what happens now. They don't have to agree on those theories.
Yeah, and we did see Ethan's feelings on paper. So Julia Janae, we appreciate your time. Court TV, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.